My friends, welcome back to Tales of Praxis. I'm your host, Aaron Suduko, the founder of With the Terrible Fate. With the Terrible Fate is your online home for everything to do with studying, analyzing, celebrating, better understanding the storytelling of your favorite games. And Tales of Praxis is the streaming and analytical article series that we started a few months ago, specifically dedicated to studying and replaying and publishing about Bandai Namco's Tales JRPG series, looking at them not just as works of art, but as works of art in conversation with one another, as part of a long-running and deeply interconnected series of works, and also looking at how their influence can be felt even beyond the Tales series itself to JRPG gaming and to video game storytelling more broadly. If you are tuning in and you saw the last stream, I want to apologize once again to you. I know I called out at the top of the last stream that I had pulled some muscle in my throat and my voice was a little wonky, but oh my goodness, I went back and watched some of the replay of that stream, and it was like wild to see in real time how my voice went from like decent at the beginning of the stream to just horribly gravelly and hoarse by the end of it, which of course was the point in the stream when I most wanted to be talking about things, since we went through that harrowing, devastating plot twist with the death of Dazzle. So thank you for putting up with my voice. Hopefully it sounds better today. It's been a little touch and go, but as always, I have a lifetime supply of water on hand. So hopefully the lubrication will help at least a little bit. I tweeted before the stream, I'm looking forward to diving back with a vengeance into Tales of Zestiria now, I guess you could say, because I had like 3 different JRPGs that I was actively playing on my plate for a little while there, between this and Final Fantasy 16, and then also Tales of Destiny, which I started in a foolhardy endeavor of ambition when I forgot that Final Fantasy 16 was coming out imminently. But I finished my playthrough of 16 a little while ago, as I talked about, and then after the stream on Monday, I went back and finished my first playthrough of Tales of Destiny, which is definitely a game that I'm going to be thinking about, probably talking about and writing about a decent amount in the time to come, because it really resonated with me. It's funny, it was a 97 game. It felt very old school, two-dimensional pixel graphics and battle, everything like that. I talked a little bit about some of the gameplay last time. But I was looking online and I saw some people talking about it, and it seems like the fan consensus among that kind of small band of Tales fans who have actually played Tales of Destiny is that it really hasn't aged well. And I think it really speaks to the many different reasons that people come to video games and decide to play them, because you can be looking to get so many different things out of a video game. And on the one hand, if you're, really looking for quality of life stuff and just a fluid experience of the kind that you're going to get from a modern game, well, of course, almost by definition, something from 97 isn't going to have aged that well. You could say the same thing about the original Final Fantasy VII or a lot of other games of that era. But if, like the practitioners at With a Terrible Fate, and hopefully you, if you're taking the time to tune in and watch this, if you come to games primarily as a mode of storytelling and to experience a rich form of narrative that you can't really get in other storytelling media, then I would say Tales of Destiny actually aged remarkably well, especially with some of the themes that we're seeing in the most modern JRPGs, like Final Fantasy XVI having just come out, or even some of the later entries in the Tales series, like Tales of Arise, or Xenoblade Chronicles for that matter. I mean, take your pick. Especially having played so many of those lately, it was really kind of unexpectedly refreshing for me to go back to Tales of Destiny, because I think it has like a startlingly modern, and what I would say is relatively unusual take on Destiny and a lot of the standard fare JRPG themes that you get in other stories. And as I said, I'm going to be thinking about that and probably talking about it in one form or another, pretty soon while it's still fresh. But I wanted to just kind of stoke people's interest in it, especially if you haven't played Tales of Destiny before, just by sharing with you a brief little speech from the end of the game. And so if you're really, really anti-spoilers, even more so than I am, then I encourage you to just tune out for a minute, or if you're watching the VOD of this on YouTube or whatever after the fact, just fast forward a couple minutes. But it's not a speech that contains really plot twists or those kinds of spoilers. If anything, it's just kind of a spoiler for a theme. But it's such a touching speech, and almost impressively so, because it doesn't go into a lot of spoilers or plot-heavy content, that I just wanted to share it with you to get everyone thinking about it, because I think it says a lot about why the game really resonated with me, and why I think it might in some ways be really modern after all. So all you really need to know for context is that the main character of the game, he's kind of called to adventure by this sentient sword, a Swordian by the name of Dimlos, and Dimlos brings him into this whole hero's journey by basically saying, true to the name Tales of Destiny, that this kid is like destined to be a hero and to save the world. And then at the very end of the game, and again, I'm not really going to spoil anything, but when the two of them are kind of getting ready to part ways, Dimlos the sword turns to the hero Shtan. This is what he says. He says, "I want to say one final word to you. I lied to you. You were not chosen. In the beginning, people were blessed with the power to truly understand one another. However, this power was lost by the time of the Ether Wars. But you found that quality within yourself even before you met me. It was very unusual to find someone like you, but your abilities are not extraordinary. This is because this power, this ability, lies dormant within everyone. Eileen said that if everyone in the world could be like you, the world would change for the better. I agree with her. I think I can leave the world in your care. We'll protect the world for the present, but you must decide the future of the world by yourselves." And if you kind of tuned out a little bit for the quasi-spoilers for Tales of Destiny, you can tune back in now. But I share that with you, A, because I haven't stopped thinking about that speech in particular since I beat the game. And I think of the many things you can say about the game, one thing is that its ending in kind of classic old-school JRPG form really does a great job of tying the story together in a way you kind of didn't even expect. But I think, especially as JRPGs have gone so many directions in terms of wrestling with what fate is and challenging the idea of destiny or the creators of the world, I think there's something kind of subversive, but subversive in an empowering way about the entity who called you to adventure in the first place, saying, you know, you're really not any more special than anyone else, but that almost is exactly what makes you special, because you have the opportunity to kind of empower everyone, because, you know, like Luke Skywalker, like so many great protagonists across all of literature, you really are an everyman whom people can see themselves in and feel like, oh, that could actually be me. That person is not some kind of god or superpowered entity to whom I could never relate. I think there's something really special and unusual about that, even within the Tales corpus. So I really enjoyed it. I thought it aged super well. But yes, that is a long-winded way of saying I have many thoughts. I'm more excited than ever to catch up on writing, but I'm also really dialed in on Tales of Zestiria now. I tweeted, it has my full attention, which I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. So we'll see if that changes the caliber of the stream at all. One other thing that's just on my mind, because, you know, it occurred to me, we've been doing Tales of Praxis for a few months, and I think I'm in a kind of just retrospective and sentimental mindset, because I'm aware that in a couple weeks we'll be coming up on the 1-year anniversary of Xenoblade Chronicles 3, which in many ways was what inspired me to dive back into being really gung-ho about the development of With a Terrible Fate as a publication and just a home for the study and discussion of video game stories, because I played that and then took, you know, the better part of a year really to undergo my research project into it that culminated in the book-length study of Xenoblade Chronicles 3 that I published on withtheterriblefate.com. And I encourage you to check that out if you haven't yet. It was really rewarding for me to do, and hopefully it gives you more insight on the game and just what it is for a JRPG to tell a story, and also what it is for a video game to tell a story. But anyway, because the launch of that game kind of marked that in my own history with the publication, I think coming up on the year anniversary of it has me reflecting more on just the general enterprises of With the Terrible Fate. And one of the big reasons that I started this stream, in the first place, it was because Tales of Symphonia was being remastered, and we were hot on the heels of all of the JRPG stuff that I'd been doing with Xenoblade Chronicles and even Final Fantasy VII as a series before that. So I had been looking for a long time for an excuse to dive into the Tales series, and that seemed as good as any excuse. But also, I've been really interested to see how the ethos of With the Terrible Fate and the way that we think about video game storytelling can grow by expanding the kind of content that we create beyond the written word into other forums and modes of presentation that gamers are interested in consuming media through. So this was really our first big foray into streaming. We had never tried it before. We'd always been interested in it, but we weren't really sure what a With a Terrible Fate stream would look like. We wanted to figure out a way to capture the spirit of how we think about video games as a storytelling medium, and celebrating and digging into that and dissecting that. And I figured what I wanted to do with the Tales series was kind of a good test case for that. But as I said, we've been going for a few months now. I've been enjoying it. We've been through, I guess you could say, probably 2.5 games at this point, kind of maybe 2 3/4, trying to judge where we are in Zesteria's storyline. Sometimes I've had wonderful surprise co-hosts to co-op these games with me, which has been a lot of fun for me. Sometimes we've gone really deep into story. Sometimes we've done much more gameplay-focused side quests or challenge content. There was one stream in the middle of the Dawn of the New World playthrough where we just stopped for a good half the stream to talk pure philosophy with a person in the chat who showed up and was interested in hearing my takes and Dan's takes, because Dan was with me at the time on philosophy. So we've tried a range of different things. I want to keep trying, but to the extent that you're someone who's watched a few of these streams, maybe you know a little bit about what we're all about With a Terrible Fate, and you've seen some of the different things we've tried. I'd love to hear from you. Feel free to drop a message in the chat. Feel free to drop a comment on the YouTube VOD if you're watching on YouTube, or just always tweet at us, reach out to us. What have you really enjoyed about these streams, this Tales of Praxis content? What would you like to see more of? What hasn't really resonated with you? Because I'm always going to be playing and thinking and publishing about these games. I was excited to try it in a streaming format, to be able to share that experience with you all, and to make it something that was more collaborative and that could create a special way of appreciating these games that's different than just talking about them with a friend or lecturing about them or writing or reading an article about them. So I want to make that as valuable for you all as possible. And who better to ask than you all in terms of what you want to see more of, and how you would tweak things to better serve you. So that's my 2 cents about where we've been and where we're going. And I'm excited to watch the rest of Zestiria unfold, whether that's in a lot of chat conversation or a lot of me monologuing or anything in between. Anything goes on these streams. But yeah, we're going to plow through the end and then take a detour into the DLC, which I've never played. I'm still really looking forward to that. And then jump right into Tales of Berseria, the prequel that was released a couple of years later, which will be, I'm already kind of salivating a bit thinking about going back to it with Zestiria fresh in my mind, because Zestiria really was not fresh in my mind the first time I played Berseria, and I can tell going into it right after a playthrough of Zestiria, it's going to be like a whole new game for me, which is exciting. But yeah, so to recap where we are in Zestiria, you might recall after some side questing and bouncing about, we experienced the devastating loss of Dezel. The party has been coping with that. We met one of Heldalf's underlings who had been following us around for a while. And I need to steal her name because I don't remember what it is. Simone! Don't know why that's not sticking in my head. So Simone kind of set this trap for Saray and the party, and it seemed like she was trying to seize and corrupt Rose into a Hellion, but also that she was kind of doing it for the purpose of exposing Dezel's sins and history. And Dezel ended up in this really heartbreaking display, sacrificing himself in order to save Rose from corruption by the malevolence. The party was all reflecting on the meaning of the sacrifice, and how to kind of honor Dezel's memories, and what it even means to be a being like a seraph that bears a curse, as Dezel was kind of the angel of death, just begetting malevolence and Hellions wherever he went, despite himself not being a Hellion or prone to malevolence. And then Zavid, who was a little more forthcoming, we were talking about, than Dezel was in terms of his intentions and why he wanted to join up with the party, came to not so much fill Dezel's shoes in the party as fill his hat, which is a kind of really touching, I think, memorial to Dezel. We talked a little bit about just trying to unpack the puzzle of Dezel's death and what it meant, and how it fits into the broader journey of the Shepherd last time. I'm sure it's something we will continue to puzzle over. One thing that also occurred to me as I was getting ready for this stream and as I've been thinking about it more is I almost wonder, like so much of this journey in terms of the way that it's been presented has been couched in terms of teaching the Shepherd different lessons, like understanding the nature of malevolence and how people and communities become corrupted by actually going through and seeing corrupted communities like Marland, or the Hellionization of the little girl and her dog in Lastenbell, things like that, or kind of the trade-offs between different obligations that you feel and what it means to live a life, as kind of epitomized by the Pope who left the church in order to care for the village of Gododin instead and sold the false elixir. And so in that light, I wonder whether one of the reasons that Dezel's character death didn't hit me in the way that a lot of other characters' deaths do, because I mentioned last time I didn't even really have a solid memory of it in my head, even though it's like a pretty pivotal plot point. And I wonder if maybe part of the reason that's the case is it's almost more of a didactic death, in the sense that even if you think of it as something that Simone was scheming and bringing about, it almost seemed like she set it up less as like a way to torture Rose or kill Dezel or make Saray suffer, and more as almost like a way to teach Saray the Shepherd a lesson about kind of the nature of existence and how some people's lives can be cursed, and to challenge him to figure out what, as the Shepherd, is the right way to deal with that. So remember, one of the interesting things about Simone is that even though she serves the Lord of Calamity, she is also a seraph, but kind of a seraph with this negative energy and spin on the world in the same way that Dezel kind of had. And so I don't know what that says about whether Simone is actually, trying to help Saray become the person he needs to be in order to be the Shepherd, or if it's just kind of the way the game presents it. But it occurred to me that if you think of it in the broader context of the game, and the broader context of the game is kind of the Shepherd's moral education on his way to morally redeem the world, that could put an interesting spin and context around the sacrifice and death of Dezel. So with that in mind, I'm sure as the story continues to unfold, we'll have many more lights under which to consider that pivotal moment in it. But after that really heartbreaking diversion, I guess you could say, in Pendrago, we are now back on the heels of Heldalf, speaking of the Lord of Calamity, and we're going to go back to the scene of the crime where we first encountered him on the battlefield in, I want to say, Glavesend, to see if we can pick up his scent and try to confront him again, hopefully with better results than last time. Yeah, we still can't warp there. I think we decided last time that the easiest way to get there was from the forest? Fulgrim Forest. I think this is what we want. Man, there's like a fast travel plus functionality they've started putting into some JRPGs. Like, I think Xenoblade Chronicles 3 was almost always this way, and for certain parts of Final Fantasy 16 you got access to this, where when you were seeking out a certain objective, like how to pursue a quest, you could just press a button and it would like take you to the nearest fast travel point on the world map, so you didn't even really have to think about all the different like regions and remember in your head, oh, I need to go to like this part of this country in order to get to the place I need to go for this quest, which has really spoiled me for navigation. And so now going back to a game like this where you need to be a little more hands-on with the map, even when you have fast travel at your disposal, it's like I have to spend more brain power than I'm used to now in terms of committing the world's geography to memory. It's a good exercise to do, though, I think.
It looks like Heldalf wasn't in Glavin.
Indeed. Were he near us, we'd surely have felt the strength of his domain.
I guess we'll have to search somewhere else.
But we'll need at least some clue as to where he is.
Agreed. I hate wasting my time.
Hiding such a large amount of malevolence shouldn't exactly be an easy task.
Malevolence, huh? I remember feeling an unusually strong level of malevolence before.
When was that?
Right after we fought earlier. It was when we were heading back to Pendrago from the Guinevere Shrine.
So, maybe southwest of Pendrago?
Alright, let's check it out.
You guys really gonna go on such a shot in the dark?
Sounds like it's worth a look.
We've got nothing to lose.
If this ends up being a waste of time, I swear I'll stab you.
Yeah, I'll keep that in mind.
I've also gone off on adventures on thinner hunches than that. The battle has already faded into a mysterious legend. As you would expect it to, for all of the crazy actions of Holy Warrior Saray way back then in the story, which feels like ages ago in some ways. Alright, southwest of Pendrago. Might be easiest just to go to Pendrago. Speaking of the geography of the world, I couldn't tell you off the top of my head which part of the world map field corresponds to southwest of Pendrago. No. I want to rest at the inn out of habit, but we are already fully rested, so that's probably not justified. I think this is the northern ward, so my guess is we want to exit the city the other way. Oh, there's no exit to the world map over here. Is the only exit from Pendrago to the north? Oh yeah, might be the case. Alright, well, let's go back. I really thought there were multiple ways in and out of the city. Doesn't seem that way. Alright, to Perlote's pasture then. Had I known that was the only field adjacent to Pendrago, I actually would have known the name for that field to search, but I thought there was another one. Alright, so to go southwest, it looks like we probably want to wrap around to Eifried's hunting ground. Oh! Got it in one.
It's so strong.
Heldalf is here. There's no mistaking it.
The final showdown, huh?
I don't know about that. Still feels a little early in the story for that. Although my brain is such mush from playing multiple JRPGs at once that maybe we're actually further in the story than I give us credit for. What's our playtime count at? 33 hours? Well, I guess actually would clock in at right around the end of just the main story playthroughs that we did of Symphonia and Dawn of the New World, so maybe we are nearing the finale. Just feels like we have a lot of unanswered questions still. So I'd be surprised. This is neat too. Viewers will recall that when we came to Eifried's hunting ground a while ago, at a time before we were supposed to in the story, during the Trials of the Shepherd, when we hadn't done the Trial of Water yet, so they didn't want us to go this way, there was this similarly strong domain of malevolence, but it was like impossible to make headway in traversing it. Like, we would try to move Saray forward and he would go even slower than the slow walking speed, and he'd be like bracing himself against the darkness. So on the one hand, just in terms of like the pure mechanics of navigating the game, of course, part of the design reason for that is just that they don't want you to be able to navigate the area yet, and so they make it much harder, whereas now you actually are supposed to be able to get through the area, and so you're able to walk at a regular speed. But there's also, I think, some really nice narrative consonance with that, in the sense that before, when we were trying to go through this area, Saray, as I just said, hadn't yet completed the Trials of the Shepherd, and so hadn't gotten those spiritual blessings, whereas now he's gotten all 4 of them, and so he's presumably stronger, and therefore it makes more sense in terms of the story of the Shepherd continuing to develop and become more powerful, that he actually would be able to like encounter a similarly strong domain of malevolence and move freely around in it, whereas he previously wasn't strong enough to do so. It's those moments, I think, when the stories of video games really sing for me, where even if there's a purely mechanical or design-based reason to make the player's access to the world thus and so, or to limit it or broaden it in certain ways, the design is crafted with such care that there's a narrative explanation for it that actually reinforces the design as something that is motivated by and in fact a part of the story, rather than just a case of needs must. Oh, I think I saw Heldalf off in the distance.
It's like Super Wrigley.
Its entire body is like its weapon. Dang! Don't slack. Straight back. Open the way forward. Blue flash.
See, that's kind of the amount of tactical complexity I can wrap my head around in Zestiria, and I do like it. Like, I can understand it's fun and rewarding to wait for a monster to wind up getting ready to attack a seraph on the field, and then immediately armatize with that seraph, since the armatization localizes to the human as opposed to the seraph, so it's like the target of the attack disappears from the battle screen and the monster just whiffs and you can catch it off guards from behind. There's something very satisfying about that to me.
I can sense the ancient tongue. We're near one.
I guess we haven't gotten this monolith yet. What a way to attach the game's ethos to its battle mechanics. Speaking of a marriage of mechanics and narrative content. Nothing you do in life is wasted. Everything is part of the greater whole. Amen to that. Man, my voice is still feeling to me like it sounds super grainy. I hope it's not coming through that badly.
Yeah, he's freaky strong.
This won't go like last time.
I certainly hope that it won't.
What do you mean?
Do you think it's coincidence that you've encountered Hellion's domains at every turn?
So what? This was all your doing? Is that what you want to say?
Is this your idea of being merciful?
You know, he used to be a general. There's no telling what he's really plotting.
Is he trying to negotiate? Be on your guard, Saray.
Yeah, he's capable of anything.
So, how are we supposed to find out if this guy really did bind with Mount Tellus?
We'll just have to fight him head on.
You got a death wish?
If not that, then what?
Tell me something, Heldalf. Are you?
What's so damn funny?
You talk far too much. I am the Lord of Calamity, and thou art the shepherd. The meeting of the two is, by definition, conflict. Do you not agree?
Saray!
Here he comes, everyone.
Go on, shepherd. Show me what a vessel you are.
I won't be pushed over that easily. Ready? Yeah! Blade bang!
Show me what a vessel you are. It's an interesting turn of phrase coming from the Lord of Calamity. Jesus. This is definitely not the last fight. I thought it might be leading up to the finale, but I think we still have a ways to go. Because there are, like, not even that I remember where the plot goes next, but there are distinct plot beats that have stayed with me over the years since I played this for the first time. And I know we have not gotten to them yet, and I don't get the sense that they are imminent in this encounter.
Hard to believe you're the same rosy-cheeked youth as before.
We're making progress, but I got a bad feeling about this.
Wonder of wonders. I agree with you.
I mean, if he continues to walk into a wall, we might have a show.
You like that?
Are you happy?
Huh?
Keep fighting like this, and you'll strike me down. Can't you feel it? Is that not what you truly wish inside?
What are you saying?
You yearn for it. You crave it. Would you drown in this fountain of ecstasy you have created?
Lila, it's time to settle this.
What's wrong? Saray, if you finish this here, can you be absolutely sure you will not regret it later?
That's right. Did we really come all this way just to smack old Kittybeard around? Or was there something else?
As you know, to quell the Lord of Calamity is the duty of the shepherd. That is not incorrect.
Is he challenging us? Do it if we can?
No.
The bastard's up to something.
Simone,
Yes.
Dispose of them.
An illusory art!
Look out, everyone!
You're too late. You're finally putting some effort into it. How long do you think your malevolence can isolate him?
For one of his strength, probably only about 10 minutes. I apologize.
It will do.
What have you done, Heldalf?
Get ready!
Oh god, just the two of us. Oh my god, does Saray have that nonsense fatigue on him too? Oh, well, that works. I'll take it.
Don't tell me the tables have turned. Victory was close, yet now only anxiety and impending doom.
Saray! Don't let your emotions waver.
He's toying with them, I think. Or he's up to something.
Still you interfere?
Yeah, he just did the exact juke I was talking about a minute ago.
Lila,
It's a good juke.
Heldalf is trying to manipulate me while I'm still missing the full picture. Is that what you're trying to say? At this rate, he's just going to keep needling me. I'm a plaything to him.
Saray, I understand.
You've got to help everyone.
You're not getting away.
Ready? No! Get on! No escape! We just have to find a weak point!
Saray.
Do not resist.
No! I will never give up!
Do you not realize how warped it is to struggle so?
What?
Simone, release the squire.
At once.
Ow! What on...
Prepare to see just what your resistance has earned you, Shepherd.
No!
Huh. And that was his fatal mistake, wasn't it, Lila? Resist this, dumbass!
Do you really plan to slay her? A seraph?
Killing is my business. Or did you forget?
Simone.
Very well, as you wish.
Rose!
Toying with you has lost its charm. Shepherd Saray, work under me. Should we not bring this world back to the way it was, together?
What?
Satan is tempting me.
The path alongside the Lord of Calamity can only lead to malevolence. Surely you...
And what is so strange about that? Malevolence will always be with us. It can only be dispelled by the scant few who hold the power of purification. Are you saying that's the way things should be?
Hellions only bring pain to humans and seraphim alike.
And so it is therefore natural to resist malevolence? Absurd. Shepherd Saray, I repeat once more, join me. For too long have the Seraphim been forced to fight the malevolence. Too long have they been chained, toiling away at their blessings. Let us restore them to their rightful form as Hellions.
I refuse.
Then let us finish our battle once and for all.
I refuse that as well. This is not the time.
So you say. But one day you will discover it for yourself, the true nature of humans and seraphim in this world.
That was really
No
interesting.
mistake. That bearded menace is connected to Maltellus. When we were trapped by his malevolence, I felt a presence.
But there wasn't even a trace of Maltellus back then.
Think about it. What if you were convinced you couldn't see something, but it was right under your nose?
It's something we see all the time and yet never notice.
This?
The ground?
You mean the Hellion could be using the continent of Glenwood itself as a vessel?
Right. There's only one guy out there who'd be capable of pulling it off.
But if that's the case...
Even if all this is true, is it possible to purify the land itself? If Heldalf were the vessel, it would make a lot more sense. But if the Earth is the vessel, why would Maltellus also be connected to Heldalf?
Let's find Maltellus. If it's true that Heldalf is connected to Maltellus, who's become a Hellion using the Earth as a vessel, then so long as we don't purify Maltellus, we'll never be able to quell Heldalf.
But even with all the legends of Maltellus we've collected, there hasn't been a single clue as to his whereabouts.
We should search for Maven.
Old Man Maven?
That's right. He was journeying to study the legends surrounding Maltellus as well.
We don't have a clue, but he just might.
Yeah, but how are we supposed to find him?
I have an inkling. Let's go meet with the ones who protect the ruin of Logren and see what they think.
Then it's been decided. Let's get packing, Meebo.
All right. Just stop that.
Hey, are you okay with this?
I trust him, though it is a gamble.
Boy, so that was a really interesting conversation with Heldalf, and I'm interested to see where the story goes next. It strikes me as almost like an interesting inversion of the problem of evil. So the problem of evil in philosophy and theology really is kind of the perennial question of, you know, if there's a God in the world, then why does evil exist? Or, you know, why would he allow atrocities like the Holocaust to happen? Things like that, kind of trying to reconcile an omnipotent, all-benevolent, all-knowing creator with the existence of evil. And Heldalf almost seems to be raising this question of, like, almost why is evil a problem? Which is something that is, you know, uniquely possible given the kind of metaphysics of the universe that Tales of Zestiria has set up, right? Where we've gone through this story and we have seen this firsthand in this stream where, like, I initially, and I think picking up and playing this game, everyone is initially supposed to hear like, oh, malevolence, that sounds identical with evil. We're talking about Hellions, those are just demons. It's a very black and white world of moral good and evil, and the shepherd is on this journey to purify the world by extinguishing evil within it and redeeming the souls of all humankind, etc., etc. Insert Jesus here. But over the course of the story, we've gotten a lot of clarity that, okay, in fact, it's not that malevolence is evil as such, but it's more to do with this misalignment of one's intention and personal beliefs in what the right thing to do is, with what you actually do and put out into the world. So what you think and believe versus what you do, basically. And so it's interesting then for Heldalf to raise this challenge of like, well, okay, given what you know about malevolence and all of these like various tiers of being within the world, between humans and seraphim and hellions, like, why would you see malevolence as something that is intrinsically bad as opposed to something that is just like part of the nature of the world? Why would you see it as something that needs to be removed from the world any more than something like, say, the element of fire or water, or like a particular creature type or something like that?
That was a difficult battle. Let's restore our vitality.
It's raising this interesting question that, like, you wouldn't think about unless someone in the world raised it, of, okay, given this concept of malevolence, is it part of the moral order of the universe or the natural order of the universe? Because if it's just part of how nature operates in the world, then you might think the shepherd is almost like doing violence to the world by purging part of its natural order, versus if it's part of the moral order and it's just identical with like the absence of purity, then it might make sense that, yeah, the Lord of Calamity has to die, all the Hellions need to be purified, but you've been given sufficient reason in the story without kind of consciously realizing it to doubt that Heldalf's challenge to Saray can be like much more unnerving than you would otherwise expect. It's interesting too, because I was thinking in the first part of that sequence with Heldalf, how we still don't really know a lot about him, his history. Like, we have gotten some sense from the Earthen Historia that he, was a general who kind of became corrupted after a failed battle campaign. But we don't know that much about him or kind of what his goals as the Lord of Calamity are, which has made it all the more kind of unsettling and hard to follow him, besides just obeying Lila's initial mandate that, the mission of the shepherd is to challenge and defeat the Lord of Calamity, but it's not really clear what rhyme or reason there is to that. So for the introduction of kind of more details into his plan, to be like less of personal history and biography and more of this kind of philosophical challenge that he's raising to the party and Saray, and kind of putting the spotlight back on them of how little they really understand about the shepherd's journey, I think is a really interesting way to turn the locus of power in the story on its head and kind of put Heldalf in the driver's seat when he was in the background, and not kind of a direct or overt part of the story for so long before this. We are going to Logren. Rose, where did Rose go? Can she tell us where Logren is? I don't remember. Oh, well, hopefully there's an easy save point. Logren! Oh, the tower remains, that's right, okay. So we can't go directly there. I think that is not the wetland. The gorge? I think we want to go to the gorge. I think? Yeah, we'll find out. No, not here. Oh, was Logren the, I think it might have been the town that was off of the moor, actually. Yeah, that's right. This might be as good as we get. Yeah, there we go. Thinking also during that sequence, I mean, based on what little we have seen from Heldalf's history, it doesn't seem likely that he was a fallen shepherd in the way that someone like Azura was. But there is that interesting kind of parallelism where Saray as the shepherd has Lila as his prime lord, and then Heldalf as the Lord of Calamity, playing opposite the shepherd, has Simone, who is also a seraph, as his, I guess you could say, prime underling. So we have some interesting mirroring there between the hero and the villain of the story. And we still don't know that much at this point about how Lords of Calamity come about, or really like what their relationship with the Shepherd is, besides the fact that, like Heldalf alluded to, they kind of, by definition, are in conflict with one another, but we don't really know why that's the case, or how it relates to all these other concepts we've been wrestling with, like malevolence and purification.
Really? Definitely weird.
I think that makes it all the more unsettling to have had that conversation and interaction with Heldalf, because it almost seems like we know he's planning some bigger scheme now, and it seems like in one way or another he needs Saray. Maybe he needs Saray's cooperation. Maybe he just needs Saray to serve some certain role that is still opaque to us at this point. But it doesn't seem like what Heldalf wants is identical with killing the Shepherd, even though it seemed like at least what we thought the Shepherd wanted was simple purification of the Lord of Calamity. In a way, I guess this segment of the game is almost putting into relief, like, the value but also the limitations of exploration, because we talked a lot in the early game about how Lila really set us off on this journey saying, hey, you're ultimately going to have to defeat Heldalf, but the way to do that is to explore the world and figure out what questions you need to ask in order to get the knowledge you need, and what your particular answer to those questions are. And that seems all well and good, and we have gone on all these adventures, and Saray has gotten these spiritual powers from the trials of the Shepherd, and he's been through a lot and gotten to know a lot of people in the world, and supported and rehabilitated a lot of communities. But kind of for all that, I think the reason that we're even grasping here is because we sort of have danced around and not gotten to the heart of what Saray's mission as the Shepherd is really about. And details like explicitly explaining that have been very hard to come by. I think that's part of why Heldalf's confrontation works and hits home so hard there, is the idea that, like, I mean, look, materially at this point we're like 34 hours into the game, and yet for all that exploration and all the different side quests we've done, especially for our expectations going through a JRPG story, I think it's kind of unnerving to take stock and realize like how thin an understanding we have of what the main hero's quest is really, capital A, about so far. Not that that's necessarily the most accurate reflection, because we've been talking around and about it in various ways throughout the stream, but I think there's at least a kernel of truth to what Heldalf is saying that that resonates with our journey as players.
Maven!
Old man!
Hey there, Saray. Young lady. You look well.
Glad we found you. Have you learned anything about Maltelis?
Right down to brass tacks, I see. Nothing much, I'm afraid.
Listen, Maven.
I do understand this infringes on the taboo. But Saray is the only shepherd we have right now. Please, I ask you to lend him your power so that he may walk his path without regrets.
Maven, you can really hear them?
Huh? What are you talking about?
Storyteller, we need you.
I see. So this man is the current storyteller of time.
Storyteller?
You must really be in a bind this time, huh?
Speaking of stories.
I won't say we aren't.
I shall lend you my power. But you do know what that means, don't you?
Yes.
You're a scary one, lass.
Well, I'm lost.
Seriously. Lila. Maven. Can someone please explain what's going on?
Now, hang on a minute. Do you understand how momentous of a decision you're presenting me with here?
Wait a minute. Is this the taboo Lila mentioned earlier?
That's correct. But as an explorer, I'll give you a bit of advice. If it doesn't all add up, the sensible conclusion is that you're missing a piece somewhere. Also, relics are not only to be found in ruins. Remember that.
Are you talking about the Earth and Historia?
It's true, we only got bits and chunks out of those.
What is it you know?
For now, just search and trust your hunches. Everything else starts from there.
You never could give a straight answer.
I'll be sticking around here. Come back once you're satisfied in your search.
Got it. We'll be back.
Thanks a lot, old man.
So they want us to search for the other iris gems. I feel like we did a pretty thorough job of that. Oh, but we do have a few extra stars here. I am a little concerned that, as we discovered on the top half of the last stream, at least a couple of these are blocked by pretty high-level monsters we did not seem especially well equipped for. But we also have a couple new prompts here, so why don't we see if we can fish out a couple more iris gems from that. Ha! Back to Pendrago. For maybe just buying one? I like the sound of that. This is an interesting setup, though, and kind of completely in keeping with exactly what we were just talking about the relationship between understanding story and going on free exploration. Like, that seems to be exactly what the game is presenting us with mechanically here, where we have the option to continue to go exploring and try to find as many tidbits as we can through these quasi-optional, quasi-mandatory iris gems, but also it at least looks like from the star over Maven's head, kind of conclude our search whenever we're satisfied that we've put in the amount of effort that we're willing to. It's an interesting middle ground between like following a linear narrative and also exploring the world in whatever order with whatever prioritization we want.
The storyteller of time, huh? You knew about Maven too?
Well, you know, he just seemed like a storyteller to me. When I confronted him about it, it turned out my hunch was correct. That's all.
He's pretty well known as a storyteller, especially among Seraphim who have been around for a while.
You could have told us about it, you know.
Well, it's also a taboo.
For both Seraphim and humans.
But what does that entail? Let's focus on collecting the Earth and Historia, Mikleo. Just hearing those stories probably isn't enough.
So when you see with your own eyes, you can figure out the truth behind the myth, huh?
That's what it's about. Isn't that right?
Couldn't have said it better myself. Back to Pendrago. Oh. That's cool. I'm trying to see if we have, because I think this is new. Pendrago now has a little icon next to it, marking it as a place to go for an iris gem. Oh yeah, and we have a couple of those indicators on the field too. Well, that seems like a nice and healthy level of guidance. And I imagine those have just been added to the map for ease of use after we've already had the requisite conversations with Rose or elsewhere in the world to get details that those might be locations for Iris gems. So it's not as if it's a Deus Ex Machina pointing us in that direction. There we go. Zod the Jewelry Merchant.
A jeweler who handles Iris gems, huh?
Let's head for Western Bolt Gorge.
Don't have to tell me twice. So I think there are putatively 2 Iris gems to find in this gorge now. So I think it was already marked with a star before we had that bit of dialogue. And I see an indicator mark about halfway down the map. Let's start there. Actually, let's start with refreshing our items. It's never a bad place to start. I had a quiet victory this afternoon too, because after probably at least a decade of talking with him about it, I finally got my dear friend and colleague Dan Hughes to start his very first playthrough of Tales of Symphonia. He's played Tales before. I mean, obviously, for those who've been watching the stream, he dropped in on my playthrough of Dawn of the New World, which was really great, and I think gave him some exposure to and interest in the Symphonia world. He also played Tales of Arise when it came out, but I don't know if other long-time or hardcore Tales fans feel this way. So I love Arise, but I feel like it was kind of the sweet spot for the series in modern times when it just it caught a wave of popularity, and so a lot of people who were outside the Tales series ended up playing Arise. So I feel like people who have just played Arise, I don't want to be a gatekeeper and say they don't count as real fans of the series, but I think in my heart of hearts I kind of feel that way, if I'm being honest. So I feel like this is almost going to be Dan's first real full exposure and a playthrough to the heart of the Tales series. So I'm excited to get all of his impressions of that. I'll tell you already his very first impression that he shared with me, unsurprisingly, was that he loves the music. Fans of Tales of Praxis will also know that I'm a big fan of the music in the series, but especially in Tales of Symphonia and Tales of the Abyss, but Tales of Symphonia, like most of those tracks, live rent-free in my head to this day.
Ate the Iris gem? That sounds like a Hellion. I mean, one hopes.
Well, I guess we'll just have to do some searching around for a Hellion who eats Iris gems. I'm gonna guess we want the path that is not in the direction of the Trial of Wind.
Looks like there's something nearby.
Noise canceling headphones. Excellent.
Counting on you, Lila. You were quite strong.
Ooh, that looks like it might be a special Hellion up there. Let's go with this.
Give it your all. A goblin lord.
Okay. Not a pushover, but we might be able to manage it. Let's give it our best.
That is totally awesome at riding that thing.
Figured you'd say that.
And I hope this is the one who ate the Iris gem. I feel like goblins are oftentimes mistaken for people, so that would track with what the merchant said. Oh shit, I missed that Rose died. Oh, okay. I'm not sure what happened there. It's been a misclick or something. Or maybe another Sarah phased in who had the blast gauge to revive Rose. I didn't even know that was a thing that could happen. Awesome. Wow, 72 grade! Even for the scale of Zestiria, that is nonsense. Awesome. We can see it right there on the battlefield. Talk about seamlessness between world navigation and combat. If only there were an action button to pick it up in the middle of battle.
Purification complete.
Now then, moment of truth. Drei. It's 3 in German. A relentless series of tragedies befalls the general. Oh, gonna get more of that Heldalf backstory. One by one, his family. And then it is not gonna let us read the second page of it, I guess. Well, we'll see what happens to his family one by one. I could guess. Oh my god. Death? First one must have been plague, some kind of disease or something. Fire? Hanging. Run over? Well, those seem like ill omens.
What just happened?
It was like people in his family just died.
Looks like it. Pretty much all of them, one after another.
It couldn't have been coincidence.
Were they murdered?
I don't know, McLeo. I was actually wondering whether it could be coincidence or part of a grander plan. I could see it kind of going both ways in terms of if someone had a vendetta against him and was kind of molding Heldalf into the Lord of Calamity, or if he was just beset by unspeakable tragedy and the chaos of the world, which sort of broke his will. His family members meet grim deaths almost like a curse. Took me a minute to find that screen toggle button. Yeah, so presumably a lot of the new iris gems that we find are going to inform Heldalf's character in key ways that we didn't have access to before, since those gems weren't even available for our discovery earlier than now. Which is an interesting tie-in to the whole, the ethos of what Maven was talking about in terms of if you still find yourself having questions, you're probably missing a piece. Almost like we were required to travel the journey in relative ignorance for some reason before we were ready to learn these deeper truths about Heldalf. I wonder in what senses we would need to be prepared for what we're going to be learning here. Well, it definitely inspires me to try to get the other iris gems before we talk to Maven. So let's see if we can see about that.
But they can still suck our blood, right?
Good question. They sure can, especially those in the front.
Right on!
That's what the shepherd can do.
All right. Whoa. More side quests to do with Sergei, and it's tied to an iris gem? I can definitely sign up for that. I'll absolutely pay them a visit. Therefore, back to Pendrago yet again. The fun never stops. And now I think it actually does warrant staying in the inn real quick to restore our health.
I never thought I'd see so many Hellions. Kinda makes me feel guilty for not being able to see them before.
You should. Ignorance is a crime, you know.
So, don't you think the quality of equipment is crucial in surviving tough battles?
They also say that true masters don't choose their weapons.
But since we're no masters, I thought it might be better if we build relationships with the shop owners and order from them.
Yeah, well, they say the relationship only lasts as long as the money does.
Yeah, I agree. So what I'm saying is, it's important to build a relationship with the shopkeeper rather than just haggling to get the price down.
I can't even tell if you guys are arguing or not.
It's a nice way of marrying the shopkeeper mechanics with Rose's mercantile acumen. Oh, and she learned a new talent for item ordering. Probably a way of getting better or specific items from shopkeepers that you have a certain affinity with. So also, talk about unexpected connections. To have that adage of the sword choosing the master right after finishing Tales of Destiny, where the sentient swords, in fact, quite literally choose their masters. Timing is everything, folks. Especially with these games. Zod hasn't returned from Western Bolt Gorge. I swear to God, they already want us to go right back to Western Bolt Gorge. A lot of this seems to be ping-ponging between two places. But we should be able to see Sergei and the gang. So let's start there.
What is the Night Squad thinking?
10 people have been killed already, and they haven't a single clue.
Please calm yourselves. We are doing our best to find the culprit.
But that means nothing if you can't catch him. There's a murderer on the loose.
I understand your concern, but please believe us. I swear on my honor to find the culprit.
Huh. Rumor has it you have your eyes on a different kind of honor. Isn't that right, Captain? Starting to butt into politics more, aren't you? So that's what this is about. Of course, political power is more important to you than citizens' lives.
No, I would never do such a thing.
Everyone, the affair with Cardinal Fortin is still under investigation, and the Knights are shorthanded as a consequence. These Knights are only human too. Please, don't judge them so harshly.
And also, Sergei is the best of us.
Thank you so much
Leave
for your
him
kind
be.
words, Father Amathor.
Humans are weak, and we must all acknowledge that. Evil lies in the people's hearts, especially those who allow themselves to fall to their own arrogance.
Indeed. We are weak creatures, but that is all the more reason for me to work harder.
As expected of Captain Sergei, salvation shall come your way when you are in need.
I do apologize, but such is the situation. I must go join the search squad.
I wonder, could Hellions be behind all these murders?
Let's check it out.
Almost by definition, Hellions would be behind the murders, right? Because pretty sure the only case of assassins we've found in the world that are pure-hearted are the Hidden Bones. Rose would know if they were the ones behind it. I'm trying to think, are there any other pure-hearted killers? I guess Zavid, because he's a seraph who, before joining up with the Shepherd, was killing Hellions. And I guess maybe Simone? Because we know she's a seraph, so she presumably hasn't Hellionized, but I'd be shocked if she weren't killing for Heldalf. So, a few other cases, but by and large, the murder is left to the Hellions.
Sounds like this Hellion is nocturnal. Let's wait until nightfall.
Something just doesn't feel right.
What is it?
How should I know? It's just a gut feeling.
You gotta trust those gut feelings in a JRPG. Gotta trust them in life too, but life just is a JRPG, isn't it, my friends? Well, I guess our resting in the inn was premature. If only we were able to earn inn points the way that we are improving the level of shops. Or the way you get stable points for staying overnight at the stables in Tears of the Kingdom.
This gives me the creeps. It's like something's going to pop out. Did I scare you?
No, I just have a bad feeling is all.
Call it an assassin's intuition. Nothing here.
Sergei, over there!
Sergei?
The culprit's inside the church!
To talk to Sergei, what's he have to say? Poisoned! Oh, Jesus. I didn't trust that church fellow who went to Sergei's defense. I feel like
The killer? Why did he go into the church?
Yeah, because I think the people of the church, something to do with it. Maybe this feels like a plot where there are still some, like, steadfast supporters of the Cardinal, even after she was ousted and killed. And maybe they're trying to serve her agenda still from within the church. That's gonna be my guess. Ah, pick up the phone. I fucking called it. I guess I should refrain from making too many calls about this game because I'm aware of the fact that I've played it before, and like, even if I don't remembering it, sometimes I feel like you can remember things subconsciously about the stories that you've read or watched or played before.
Are they dead?
This is not death, but salvation, good Seraph. I have purified the evil.
He heard my voice?
Why so surprised? You were the one who showed me the way in my dreams, time and time again. That the world's salvation was my sworn duty.
You call this salvation? This is massacre!
The blame rests on them. They could not admit their own weakness. Instead, they would blame their own country, the knights, even the church for their own blasted misfortune. Such disgusting vermin. What would you call their illness, if not malevolence?
Are you serious?
Boy, that use of the word vermin really puts me strongly in mind of the Designs. I think it was Magnius who especially leaned into calling people vermin way back in Tales of Symphonia.
Quite, I assure you.
All these corrupt people. Similar language.
If I do not dispose of the evil ones, there can be no future. It may seem cruel, I know, but it must be done. That is my sworn duty.
This is reminiscent of Azura too.
Lila, is he?
No, he's not a Hellion.
He's just nuts.
Father Amathor, you are under arrest for mass murder.
You assume I can be bound with the laws of man? How foolish. But then again, who could blame you? I am all too aware that your brother was killed by Cardinal Fortin in an attempt to fight her. He must have been but a weakling who could do nothing but blame his misfortunes on the church. And oh, you poor soul, who's been working so hard to atone for his sins, your heart is truly worthy of salvation.
How dare you!
Enough, Saray. What he says isn't far from the truth.
Of course it isn't. Please, confide in me what troubles you. After all, it is my duty to save lost lambs like yourself.
Saray, Seraphim, I beg of you, please, don't abandon us humans.
Bushy eyebrows, ugh. Boy, that was a pretty disheartening little scene there. Didn't offer a lot of promise for the way the church might fit into the future of this world. Fear. Have they all been German numbers and I just didn't catch it before? What we just found was, 3, was it? 3? This one's 4. I'll help us put them in order, I guess. I'll have to check after this. Ugh. There's never a good time to realize you've given birth to a demon.
What was that? That baby?
That can't be real, can it, Lila? How could anything like that happen?
The Earth and Historia record the events of the past.
So, that really happened?
And it wasn't just some random tragedy. You couldn't do something like that without using seraphic arts.
You mean a Hellion or Seraph used an art on humans?
Most likely for revenge.
Pretty disturbing art. No, more like pretty disturbing art user.
But his family had nothing to do with this.
Maybe the goal was to rob him of his purpose in life. Way more brutal than just walking up and killing him.
But surely no one deserves that kind of treatment, no matter what they've done.
So it seems like Heldalf was targeted in such a way that he was kind of bullied into becoming the Lord of Calamity, raising questions like, was the entity who targeted him trying to create a Lord of Calamity, or was that just a coincidental effect of the targeting? Definitely continuing to be interested as we plug forward here. Oh, maybe this quest isn't over. We probably need to head outside. Is this the way forward or further in? No, I think we want to go the other way. Maybe? No, I think I had it right before. Goodness, the smallest maps in the world, and I still end up confusing myself.
And that'll do it.
I think I understand where I got that weird feeling from. I couldn't sense any murderous intent behind this incident.
Didn't that priest refer to killing as purifying?
Guess he's dedicated to his cause. He really believes he's saving the world.
And that's exactly why he had neither built up malevolence nor became a Hellion. That's more disturbing than anything.
How could his sense of righteousness become so distorted?
Didn't he say that a seraph showed him the way in his dreams? That's probably what caused this.
Something so formless.
Something formless, like an
Sounds
illusion.
like Simone.
Maybe Misty is behind all this.
Even if somebody
Misty.
did have a hand in it, that's not enough to make him atone for what he's done. No matter what the reason, killing is a sin. For him to be able to kill without even realizing that means he's just like a monster.
Weak ones, crazy ones, strong ones. There's all kinds of types out there.
Yes, but there are people like Sergei as well.
Yeah, I know.
That also goes some distance, I think, toward justifying or at least prompting us to more seriously consider what Heldalf was saying about malevolence being part of the world's natural order, because as we've seen, I mean, the priest wasn't even the first example of this. There are plenty of monsters in the world who aren't Hellions and aren't surrounded by malevolence. And so it's not even like malevolence is identical with what it means to be evil or monstrous in the world. And so one might worry that if all the shepherd is doing, or what his quest amounts to, is just hunting down and routing out all the malevolence in the world, it's kind of missed the mark with regard to saving the world from evil, or whatever actually needs to be purged from it. Well, I think we're back to the hunting of those higher level Hellions. So I think strictly speaking, we have a couple more levels on them than we did the last time we confronted them. So I guess it's worth a shot. But we won't belabor it if it seems outside our reach. I guess it might be reason, if we have trouble with them, but it seems workable, to try to retool our kit and equipment and skill set a little bit.
Your hunch was right again, Rose.
Because we haven't done that in a while.
Because I got loads more bad feelings on the
So
way.
that might be a good prompt for it. But
let's all keep our guards up.
if it's impossible, we just won't do it. And I want those iris gems, though, so I hope we can make it work.
Give it your all! Yeah. The Medusa again?
She's a similar type of Hellion, but it's actually Steno.
You need to watch her petrifying attacks, right?
There are limited ways to prevent petrification.
If you aren't wearing preventive equipment, just try guarding.
Nope. Can we armatize, though? No, we can't armatize. I think that's the problem with this one. We determined that we really don't have any recourse once we do get petrified, which seems wrong, but those fucking panacea bottles don't work on it. Oh, there we go. If she accidentally kills us, we can get back in the game. Hilariously. She's got quite a bit of health, and she is high level, but I don't know, I feel like we have a shot. Until that happens. She seems to be vulnerable to wind, that's something. Ugh, fuck that. Okay, we got a free slot that way. That might help. Nope, that didn't work. So is there equipment that we have that can prevent petrification at least? That might be something. Okay, so there's a poison ward. So there's got to be some kind of ward for petrification, right? Nothing that we have, of course. That might be a good switch. Oh, that would improve his attack a lot. And also give him some new skills. You can try that at least, that's something. So what does that give Saray in terms of added skills? Reduces the effect of paralysis. Still nothing to do with the underlying problem of petrification. Let's see, are there improvements we can make to Rose? See, a lot of these trade-offs would mess her stats up pretty bad. See, this might be better, but it reduces her capacity for defense. Oh, I think I messed up the alignment of her overall stats without meaning to. So that's better, I think. Now one sees when and why skill farming becomes such a key part of the game, depending on what you're trying to do. Do any of these titles have resistance to petrify? Doesn't seem that way. Oh, these will improve his stats drastically. That seems good. Without losing his G union. Edna didn't really even have any big combo skills as I understand it, so I feel like just going for improving her raw stats might help. Now let's see if that helps her. I feel like that maybe improved things. Let's run it back once and see if that was a material change at all. I knew I knew there was a whole menu I'd been missing. Yeah, there are battle actions, which is like a whole other, I don't want to say like skill tree, but a whole other way of improving your battle performance. How many hours are we into the game? Like 35? And we're just discovering this. Oh, now that we found it, we might as well take the time. Never going to remember all these skills. That's a problem when you activate them all at the same time. But at least we'll have them. Oh, I see. So that thing they were talking about like many streams ago that I couldn't figure out, when you can ascend from one hidden art into its higher version, we weren't able to make that work because we had to activate this battle action. And those are the guarding skills I was talking about a while ago. Alright, let's try that. That might help. Okay. Round 2.
The Medusa again?
She's a similar type of Hellion, but it's actually Steno.
We need to watch her petrifying attacks, right?
There are limited ways to prevent petrification.
If you aren't wearing preventive equipment, just try guarding.
Crimson Flame! May burn your soul! Way to fly! No escape! No escape! Go burn! No escape! Kill the flames! Aqua Serpent! Get lost! No escape! Tower of Life! Work the serpent! Rose, get back!
I guess we want Rose to die somehow when this happens to her. Oh! And now we want to die. Oh, that worked. Okay, Edna's petrified. Master to use a life bottle, I think.
I won't lose this time! I need a hand! Tiger Blade! Let's get out! Finally protect Torrent Spear!
Man! At least she seems to prefer targeting Saray, so if he gets petrified, it's pretty easy for him to die and then just get revived. Not ideal, but that's something though. Fuck. I was greedy. Well, at least the second Seraph is still able to stay on the field when the Squire is petrified. That's really helpful. I wish she would kill Rose. There we go. Thank you for killing her. Now we might be able to get this party started. I don't know why jinx us, but we have some good synergy going now, finally. Oh, and Rose is petrified. Just kill Rose. She's got to be close. Okay. That was really fucking gross. But we did it.
Malevolence.
I believed in you. I threw everything away for you. Why? Why?
Saray, Purifier!
How could you? How could you choose her over me?
Oh, shoot!
Petty, scorned lover.
Confident, don't go after her. You'll just get yourself killed.
Saray.
What's done is done.
Wait, was that
Let's go
Dezel's
investigate
voice?
The village.
Yes, there may be survivors that need our help.
Boy, that's I wonder if they designed it in such a way that you were expected to do that while Dezel was still there, because that, unless I was just totally out of it, that sounded like Dezel saying, don't go after her if you're not confident, because you'll get yourself killed. Oh, Dezel. I wasn't ready to hear your voice again, man. Funf. Yeah, they must all be German numbered. Heldalf, that sounds Germanic inspired too. I wonder if there's anything to be said about that. I mean, King Arthur, that's not German, that's English. The broken general tries to kill himself over and over, but he can't die. Ugh, this brother's curse just keeps getting worse.
He tried to kill himself. So many times.
And yet, in the end, none of it worked.
But wait, that's weird. You'd think at least one of them would have stuck.
He probably wasn't serious about it.
He sure as heck looked serious about it.
Yeah. It really felt like he wanted nothing more than to die.
I'm guessing this isn't a coincidence either.
Hard to say.
The more we learn, the more mysteries we find.
That's what I was
That's
thinking.
pretty much how the world works.
Here, I'll do you a favor.
Wow, so starting to feel like whatever the role of the Lord of Calamity relative to the Shepherd is, it's almost the kind of thing that the world demands, so that Heldalf became too important to the theater of the world's trajectory to kill himself.
Saray, you were thinking about the Cardinal, weren't you?
Just for a moment.
If you're still unsure about it, why don't you go relax at an inn somewhere? I can make the problem go away.
What are you saying? You can't purify Hellions on your own.
But I can kill.
But that's...
Saray, if you hesitate, the enemy will pounce on your moment of weakness. Hasn't Zavid been saying the same thing? I don't want any of us to wind up getting hurt by sympathizing with the enemy.
Are you saying that I'm holding the team back?
Yep.
Wait, Rose, Saray's just...
Mikleo, not now.
I won't have second thoughts anymore.
Well, I'm not saying not to have them. But if you're gonna do it, then stick to it.
Yeah.
Man, I didn't need to be so worried about them. I feel like an idiot.
I wouldn't say that.
Yeah, you're not like an idiot.
That's not what she meant.
Oh, Edna. So we see, because we've been talking about Rose complimenting Saray and the skill set of the Shepherd with her discipline toward killing, but it seems like she's also good at tempering the Shepherd and honing his own abilities, pushing him to be more than he is. Yeah, I like the rapport more than I remember. I think I was just really bewildered at the, relatively sudden and early departure of Alicia the first time I played this, and I had a hard time getting over that. But I appreciate Rose for who she is and what she brings to the party. Especially with Dezel. I think the greater half of Rose's impact on the story is Dezel. Oh, that's weird. They seem to have taken the Iris gem tag off of Zafgot Moor, which is where I think the elephant was. So they not want us to fight the elephant? No, we need to find us an elephant Hellion. Elephelion. I guess we can also ask border patrols for info about Iris gems. We should probably go back to town first to restock on items. And then we can try our hand at that elephant Hellion again. Honestly, I gotta say, plowing through that
Why did she...
Gorgon Hellion
Is the
makes me
injury
feel a
you
lot
got
more
from
confident in
him
our ability to
starting
get
to
that
hurt?
done.
Oh, no, I'm totally fine. It's just really embarrassing for me to get hurt like that when being kept ransom.
No. What's really scary is that he would do such a thing without hesitation. And plus,
Simone's reaction.
yes,
Her illusions are really something.
her skills are quite unusual. But there's something even stranger about her.
You mean how she isn't affected by malevolence?
Yes. Or rather, how deeply she believes in him from the bottom of her heart.
But how could she? When she was shot, she was smiling. How could she trust him so?
Only she knows the answer.
But Simone has remained a seraph while following the will of Heldalf. That much is true.
So then what's really dangerous is how pure she actually is.
Pretty ironic.
Yeah.
It's not exactly the same, but it reminds me a little of Pronema back in Tales of Symphonia, and how we were talking specifically about how sad it is that she seems to have this pretty heartfelt, not just admiration and appreciation, but also love for Yggdrasil mythos, and the way he just kind of uses that and her as a tool, and like literally kicks her away from him in her dying moments. Really sad to see someone who is such an ardent believer as an acolyte of someone so monstrous. We seem to have something that may at least be similar between Simone and Heldalf shaping up here. Oh, I healed us, but I almost walked right off to the moor without doing what we came here to do, namely restocking items. So let's do that. And now off to Zefgot more. I think the southern oasis was the closest save point, if memory serves. Yeah, definitely. I think it's right up here. No, it's over this way. There it is. All right. Here we go. It can't petrify us, at least. That's a step in the right direction.
Is this my all?
Jesus Christ! Can it one-hit all of us? What level is it? It's only 53. That doesn't seem right.
Jeez, it looks so heavy too. You're right in agony if you get stomped by it.
Okay. Well, I hope it doesn't have an iris gem, because I don't know what they expect us to do with that. But we're not going to get it done. Seems like more a joke than anything. I don't like that we work back to here. Did I forget to save? How far back did we go? I think to just before Pendrago. Ah, but that sucks. It's definitely tagged as an iris gem thing. Well, we may just want to throw in the towel on it, I guess. I want to see which ones we had. I see. Okay, so there are different colored iris gems. I've forgotten this. And they count them off in different languages. So the green ones are German. Et tva tre fura. I couldn't tell you what language that is. Odin dva tri ek do. Yeah. Well, German is the language I know best besides English, which isn't saying much. Let's see, we have 3 red. We have 5, all in sequence. Yeah, and they seem to be about different people. Like the red ones are about the Shepard and Lila moving into the authorship of the Celestial Record. The green ones seem to be about Heldalf's history. Pre-Helionization into the Lord of Humanity. And then the yellow ones seem to be about Heldalf's acts as the Lord of Calamity. And then the little sequence we've had of multiple shepherds working together with Mautellus, so maybe Mautellus is the unifying thread, is purple. Well, I'm satisfied with the bit of world history we have. I'm mad as hell at that elephant Hellion, but I don't really see any way of dealing with that. I'm gonna go after it one more time. It doesn't make sense to me. The fucking Gorgon was a higher level, so I feel like we should at least be able to hold our own without getting like brutally murdered.
Oh, Acis, Oasis, the very font of life, goddess of the barren wastes, succor to the parched.
Surprise poetry reading?
Now, Mickey, my boy. Surely as a water seraph, you understand how precious water is in a place like this.
Well, sure, I guess, but...
Go on, Lila. I know you're just aching to plunge that smoldering fire seraph's skin into the cool crystal depths.
I'll pass. Do enjoy your nice clean spring.
Then Edna, come! It is only fitting that a seraph of the earth should join me as together we leap into this blessing from the land.
No wonder you're a wind seraph. Your situational awareness blows.
That one's stung.
Then wash your tears in this very font of life.
Yes.
Brutal.
Yes, I think I will.
Didn't take long for Zavid to fit in. But see, now that I know there's a discovery point there and we got it, I want to actually save before we fight the Elephant Hellion. It's a whole process and a half, I'll tell you. Alright, I'm sure we're just gonna get one hit KO'd again. But we gotta try before we give up. It just feels like such a defeat to go to Maven instead of dealing with this jackass.
Okay, what is up with that shining hellion? Jeez, it looks so heavy too.
You're right in agony if you get stomped by it.
Well, not everyone instantly died. That time it was just me. Man, he's just so tanky and strong.
Dark Star!
God damn. Oh, alright. We're able to armatize at least. That is a really handy skill. Just a trick to manage, I guess. Fuck me. It's too greedy. Fuck! Come on. Fuck!
I won't lose this time.
Jesus. Once you get off your feet, it's really hard to get back on your feet. Okay, we've got one armatized. That seems positive. Now I just need a Seraph back. Lila is really taking her sweet time. Okay, there we go. I'm getting acid flashbacks to something I mentioned a few streams ago in terms of how some of these late game battles were brutal wars of attrition. I think we're seeing a microcosm of that. You just have to keep everyone healthy at all costs. Under 10k. I'm not sure why the water spell killed the water seraph, but I guess we can think about that later. Alright, and everyone died at once. This is the worst possible camera angle to see from. Health actually seems okay, somehow. Oh, we're so close now, but it's also so precarious. Oh, come on, man. So close. Just let us have this. not a good time for Edna to die.
I need a hand! Strike! Red! Dark Star! Red! Caught my path! Red! Violent protection! Caught my path!
Whoo, mommy. It does feel nice to get it done. And granted, we are still very underleveled relative to that monstrosity of an elephant. But damn, it had better be worth it for this Iris gem. Okay, so we can request a specific item, and then it's RNG for it to actually show up. It's an interesting field skill. A Seraph! But do you also have an Iris gem?
Turning into a Hellion.
Are you alright?
Oh, I must apologize for troubling you, Shepard. My name is Alkin. You must tell me, what did I go and do?
Well...
You became an Elephant Hellion and started attacking merchants.
Oh dear.
That made things hard for the people in Logrin. We wanted to do something to help.
Logrin? Oh, those devout believers of the Shepherd. Is there no guardian seraph?
Not right now. But the people continue to practice their faith, even in such hard times.
Oh,
It was the work of a Hellion. Don't blame yourself.
But nevertheless, I used to scoff at those humans for how easily they would become tainted with malevolence. And then I myself became a Hellion. And in my rage, I destroyed my very own followers. I'm ashamed of myself.
Hey, what's the use in crying over spilt milk? What matters is what you do from now on, right?
I'd wager you have a considerable amount of power, Alkin. Could we ask you to give your blessing to Logrin?
We'll find a vessel ourselves.
I may be able to use the tower in Logrin as my vessel. Assuming devout and pure humans have been living there.
Okay.
Please let me ask of you, so that I may atone.
Thank you.
Don't worry. We're sure it'll all be worth it.
All right.
Let's go back to Logrin and tell them that their elephant problems are no more.
Hopefully this will make things easier on them, right?
I hope so.
Well, that was positive. And don't get me wrong, I'm happy we did it for the sake of restoring the blessing. That's definitely an intrinsically good thing in this world. Actually, we should not be using the word definitely, since the first half of the stream was thinking about, well, is it actually good for the Seraphim to purify as opposed to accept malevolence as part of the world? So nothing is definite, but it seems like a net positive thing that we restored the blessing. But I can't help notice we didn't get an Iris gem out of the bargain. Perhaps when we go back to Logrin. So let's do that next. Okay, well that's positive. It looks like the Iris gem icon has moved to Logrin, so maybe we'll get one after all.
Agil, find anything interesting?
Sure did, boss. Remember how you were looking for iris gems?
Earth and Historia! Did you find one?
We did, but we were a little late.
Someone besides Saray wants them?
The guy that brought it is a priest who's studying archaeology.
Archaeology? Is he studying ruins?
I'm not really sure.
My people!
He published several books.
Oh man, that's awesome!
I'm interested in his writing.
Could you try to stay on topic for once?
I wish people got that excited over my writing.
I went to the Litwork Bearwoods near Plitzerback wetland for some research.
That's pretty dangerous.
Though I do understand how he feels.
I'm a bit worried. Let's go.
Alright. Off on another iris gem quest. And we're going to get to explore some more of the wetlands. It seems like there are a few productive side conversations for us to have here, so we might as well round those up before we go. A saint. Ooh.
A holy woman, huh? Terrifying.
Terrifying? Why?
A chaste young shepherd boy wouldn't understand, would he?
I guess not.
Well, looks like we have all kinds of business taking us to the wetlands. Oh, that's interesting. A meal that boosts our title experience when we get a certain hit count. This seems like a more utilitarian meal for our playstyle.
Why did she...
Rose, is the injury you got from him starting to hurt?
Oh,
This was the skit we saw before we died last.
But pretty.
Couldn't have said it better myself, guys.
That's a funny thing they've got here. A doll inside of a doll.
Oh? You see them a lot in the north. It's folk art.
You don't think... Maybe it's meant to symbolize the relationship between Seraphim and humans?
Whoa, I wouldn't go overthinking it.
But look, they specifically chose this odd configuration. There has to be some meaning behind it, don't you think?
Undoubtedly. So what would you say it means then, having a human inside of a seraph?
Well, maybe it represents the distinct personality inside each seraph? No, hold on. Perhaps, in depicting a fanciful inverse of the typical seraph and human vessel relationship, it's meant to symbolize coexistence between the two.
They sound like us.
Zavid, is there anything inside the innermost doll?
Huh? Yes. Typically in the very core is... a plum pit.
A plum pit? Yes, a symbol, of course. But of what? A pit is a seed, a sign of rebirth, perhaps? But then, why a plum? True, some bloom in the spring, but...
I'm starting to get why you like toying with our boy Mickey here.
I know, right? In some ways, he's even more pure than Saray.
Such rich philosophy. Very profound.
Is it Miglio or is it Aaron Stucco? Help me. Save me from myself. Oh, I thought it was a Norman. It's Cat. Problems that you only experience in Tales of Zestiria. Unless the Norman present again in Berseria. I honestly don't remember.
I guess it's difficult to decrease the price of something when it's already gotten so high.
It does feel like the merchants are rather merciless on the pricing, but it's not like they've been affected by malevolence.
Right.
So I guess even returning the blessing won't solve everything.
A blessing alone can't change the hearts of people.
It's all so complicated.
At least the people of Logren haven't given up on restoring their village.
Either way, the shepherds shouldn't get involved.
Yeah, this is where the merchants come in.
Everything in balance between the sparrow feathers and Jesus Christ. perfect economic harmony. Alright, I guess we're going to the wetlands.
Snacks are done.
Maybe we should pop back here just to see if there's anything pertinent with the Lord of the Land. Oh, he's all the way over there. It's totally the wrong direction. There he is, hanging out in a corner. He did look a little dragonish. I think dragon was actually one of his enemy types. Just the way you want it. Oh, did I actually restock on items? I know I meant to, but nope, I super forgot. That's how we end up with a dearth of supplies when it counts the most in battles. Oh, we can buy grape gels now. So expensive, though. Spear of Impending Death. That is a very cool name. Ah, perfect. We can afford to max out on grape gels too. Spear, is that... I think that's, Alicia's class of weapon, right? Wonder if that means we can get her back at some point. I don't remember being able to. Well, time will tell, I guess. The whole Meltran storyline still hasn't played itself out. So I imagine... hope we'll still be seeing her again, at least. Alright, to the wetlands. No hints about where to go here on the map, except there seems to be a conversation point back here. Let's start there. There's a holy woman and the archaeologist in the ruins, right?
I certainly hope so.
Yeah, so we knew this already. A village in the back of Beyond. So my guess is the ruins where the archaeologist is probably the closer point, and then down there, the second dungeon icon looks like it's maybe next to what might be considered a town. I'm guessing that's where we'll find our holy woman, who I have a sinking feeling might be a little more Hellion than holy woman at this point.
But don't forget,
just a feeling that I've
find the
got.
Iris gem.
Yeah, I know.
That's where we're going! What do you want from us, girl?
These ones are even more adept at water attacks than Scylla. You should stand back while I take them on. We'll be counting on you, Edna. That was a tough enemy. Let's prepare for our next battle.
Yeah, our health's not super. Alright, so with the wetlands, we probably want to switch Edna in for Lila. See, I'm gradually learning how to play this game after 35 hours in it. And I was thinking we could change Suray's art settings now that we finally figured out how to hold to ascend his arts. We can make these a bunch of arts that that ascend into higher forms. And then if we just hold the button longer when we use all of them, that should execute 2 arts, which also, since we learned from that one monolith or tutorial, using different arts frequently fills out the stars of them in such a way that increases, I think it increases the base blast gauge that you enter battle with, and I think gives you other useful battle effects besides. So I think the more we can make that system work for us, the better off we'll be. Yeah, so Shadow Shock is a higher art of Shatterfang. So if we do that and then hold, we should be able to get to that higher art. And what else do we have? Severing Wind is a higher art of Rending Gale. Cool. Okay, so we'll have to try this out in battle now, but I think holding X after we execute any one of the hidden arts will automatically trigger the higher art version of those arts. Let's find out.
We're here to purify you.
Yeah, I think that's right. Yes. Not as fast or fluid as I would expect for like an art combo, but it seems to work.
You've been slacking off, haven't you?
Absolutely. No, man, we haven't been slacking off. This is the first stream in a while when we've actually tried to learn and use as intended the game's combat system. And I feel like even while I would certainly not say that I have mastered or even that I fully understand this game's combat system, after playing it multiple times, I do feel like we're gradually improving with it when we do put the time into playing around with it. Got an Oib, very nice.
Let's go on ahead.
That was an unusually efficient battle. I liked that. Alright, so our first turn off into a side area is up here. That looks like it might be a crucible over there. Maybe we've gone long enough that it's worth giving one of those crucibles a fair shake. Just seems like a tough and not especially fun proposition of a challenge, at least in terms of the challenge content that I like. Like, the limitation of which characters you use is kind of rough. So much quartz. So I think the archaeologist was in a set of ruins as opposed to the woods. I don't perfectly remember what they said. But as we're here already, we might as well explore these woods. We've certainly found iris gems in woods before. And if there's no iris gem, at least, I'm sure, there'll be a Hellion that's way over-leveled for us, since that seems to be the order of the day with these side areas.
No foe
Can stand
in our way.
Nice. Had a very Mighty Morphin Power Rangers feel to it. Reminds me, when I was doing my replay of Tales of the Abyss on the 3DS port of it, I either never knew or had forgotten that there's this whole hilarious endgame costume side plot, as is often the case, as we all now know in Tales games. And the plot was like, I don't think it was that there was a TV show in the world, but there was like a really popular story with these hero characters, and it was something very meta, like they were called Heroes of the Abyss or something like that. But basically, it was a thinly veiled like reference to the Power Rangers, because the outfits that the gang ends up getting is like different colored iterations of the same armor that like covers their head, and it just looks exactly like a Power Ranger. I was not paying enough attention during this battle, and we might be fucked now. But it was worth it to tell that great story. I don't like all that casting. Why can we not heal? Don't like that.
Embarrassing.
Can you just not apply healing items at all when you have a status effect? I thought that's what fatigue meant, but it seems like any time a character has a status effect, you can't use healing items on them, which is very frustrating to say the least. I think I have to get in there and start interrupting these spells, or we're never going to make any progress. These dangerous encounters, still not a fan. God damn it! I hate the fact that all attacks when you're armatized accelerate spells. Hate it, hate it, hate it. You can't make me like your rock, paper, scissors. Might be too late to save ourselves, honestly. I probably should have started the escape earlier. Are we down to the last one? No, there's still fucking 3 left. We're gonna use all our items before we even get to whatever boss or mini-boss is inside this area. Stupid.
Let's just get out alive.
Alright, well, we got out. God, that sucked. Well, I learned my lesson. I hope you enjoyed my anecdote about Tales of the Abyss, because I'm not going to be giving anecdotes on the fly for a second here. Oh my god, leave me alone. It's going to be the same fucking thing. Oh, well, no, we didn't get into a dangerous encounter at least. It's a cruelty that all the monsters remain on the field when you escape, because if you're in a cramped situation like that, it's not really much of an escape. That, I guess, is the other side of the double-edged sword of having such a seamless integration between world navigation and battles. Harder to effect meaningful escapes. Alright, that worked. Well, maybe we just need to mow them all down now.
It's a Cyclops. Emphasis on the Z. Get it?
Not really. Just give us the battle tips, please.
And she didn't give them any battle tips. Unless the pun was somehow the battle tip, which sounds like Lila, but I'm not sure how a Z would be a battle tip. Unless they're saying we should put it to sleep, which I don't know how to do. Okay. Ah, chests, that's what we were after. Oh my god, it was not worth it. Unless an iris gem is in the other of those 2 chests. This detour in the woods was not worth it. I guess you just want to beat them to casting the spell when they're when you're fighting them as the Armados. Alright, where the hell are we going here? Not that way. Alright. This works.
Let's do this.
Wow, that got the job done.
Cerise Terrible Shepherd. How could I?
Do you think he can win against Heldalf and Mautellus?
Tell us! Shall I read your palms? Oh, you have girl trouble!
So it was that easy to tell, huh?
Oh. Savid was so unexpectedly serious and wistful about that. Yeah, Lila, I really do have girl trouble.
We're here to purify you. Humans and gold. Guess it's like cheese for rats, huh?
Just about.
Sweets are so good, especially after a battle.
Oh yeah, Rose could use a top off on her health. It's nice that health maintenance calls out when you might want to at least check your roster for characters with low health. Because I don't do a great job of keeping track of that at the end of a battle. Ooh, arcane bottle. Alright, that is worth the price of admission. I forgot how useful those things are. And now that I've remembered, I'm sure I'll never be able to keep them stocked in my inventory. That's not what I meant. I was hoping to be able to warp with the wind power fast enough.
Let's do some fortune telling. Please pick one.
So, which side is the front?
David, are you asking me out?
I kinda like your interpretation.
A match made somewhere. Alright, I smell a Hellion battle arena top left. Let's head that way. Oh, this was a dead end. Oh, and it's a dangerous encounter. That'll interrupt them at least. Can't cast a seraphic art if you can't start the cast process.
Well, guess I overdid it again.
Or like wasted your energy and talked too much.
Oh, I should check on health. Yeah, we're decent. Nice to claw back at least one grape gel from all of these monster misadventures in the woods. I understand it's in keeping with the exploration theme and the excavation of the past and everything that we wouldn't really have any reason to know how many iris gems there are a priori, but I do kind of wish, in terms of just having confidence before we go back to Maven, that there were a counter or some other way just to track our progress so we could have a sense of how many of them we have uncovered and how many we have left to find before we can feel confident that we've collected them all. I would bet dollars to donuts I probably didn't get them all during my first playthrough. It's something I wouldn't mind doing given the gamer that I've come to be these days, depending on how much effort it takes. I was thinking of using the Mystic Art on these guys, but if we're approaching a potential boss or mini-boss, it might be worth actually saving that. God damn it. Stop running away from us.
What a formidable opponent!
Yep, that was rough, but we got through. Oh my god. These enemies do clump together, don't they?
can do.
My God, give us a break. I do not want to fight that last one. Treasure chest. Ugh. I want the key to open the highest tier ones, man. Where's that hiding? Save point.
You ready, Saray?
I would rather burn a life bottle that we can buy back at a store. Oh, it lost the blast gauge too! I fucking forgot it did that. That really pisses me off. I don't care that they're resistant to fire. I want my sword.
There's a certain beauty in winning this way.
Don't know what that means, but I don't think it was especially flattering of us. I'm gonna assume that we can travel back to this save point specifically. And with that in mind, I'm gonna restock on items before we go forward. So these are the Litverg Woods, since I'm not always great at remembering those names. And back real quick to Logren. Might as well rest at the end too. Get another skit, so it's all worth it.
Feeling a bit tired today.
Yeah, there's no shortage of things we need to do.
Now we have the Earth and Historia, and the storyteller to deal with as well. The world we live in is full of secrets and mystery.
I hear you. It's really frustrating being pushed around and intentionally kept in the dark like this.
Yeah, but isn't that kinda natural?
What do you mean?
Ain't nothing but secrets in the world of merchants. The market, guild rules, networks, conveyance routes, all kinds of things you can't say in bid riggings. Every day is a battle against secrecy.
I see. Yeah, you're right.
In our case, that secrecy is all over Maltellus and his past history.
Of course it is. I am a shepherd after all.
And you like it, don't you?
Of course.
He's not kidding.
Well, as long as you understand. Okay, let's keep up the never-ending battle against secrecy.
It's an interesting lens to think about the narrative arcs in these games and maybe JRPGs more broadly. Like, I don't oftentimes think of them in the first place as mysteries to be solved, but or secrets to be unraveled. But a lot of I guess a lot of storytelling in general, but especially the Tales games, I think, are predicated upon especially elements of the past being kept secret. Whether that was, the true story of Mythos and his companions in Tales of Symphonia, or I guess you could think about the nature of Ratatosk as a secret in Dawn of the New World. And I'm thinking in my head of some of the other Tales games without spoiling them, since we haven't really played through them on stream yet. But yeah, it'd be interesting to... Hey, little Norman fella. I could see doing some sort of study of, thinking about JRPGs as like a detective novel, almost. And seeing whether or how that, shifts the way you think about what it means to navigate its story. Alright. We got fully equipped. We're all rested. Let's travel back and see if we can't get at least one more Earth and Historia before things wrap up for the evening. Litverg Woods. Let's do this. Really hope the Hellion is manageable. I still have PTSD from trying to figure out how to manage petrification in this game. Which seems, unless I'm missing something, and I may be missing something, to come down mostly to
here comes
figuring out ways to get the petrified party member to get killed, so then you can revive them. Yeah, I truly do not like the looks of that at all. Gotta give it a shot. 55, okay.
It's self-explanatorily huge.
Oh, I see.
Were you hoping to explain?
That was pretty funny. I keep trying to use the... there it is. Mr. Card. Hard to get the right thing to trigger sometimes. Man alive! How much HP did this guy have? Oh, okay, he had about, like, half the HP as the elephant, which explains why, his bark is worse than his bite. Hilarious. 211 points of grade? That's nonsense. I need to see the details on that one. What gave us all that fucking grade? It was defeating him without using items that somehow got us 190 points in and of itself, and then a speed bonus, which is fair, because that was ridiculously fast. Oh, man. Levels are just pretend in this game, I guess. Although the party has been leveling up. Maybe it's not such an absurd level difference anymore. We'll have to check. Oh, that was nuts.
This place is a lot more dangerous than I thought.
Got a good blood rush that time.
Quick.
What was that?
That was quick.
Are you that archaeologist?
You just cut through those walking stones!
It's not like that. It's called a heli.
Stay away from me, you monster!
Yeah, that's about right.
What's the deal? We came to save you!
We're really after the Iris gem.
True, but Saray isn't just about that.
Hey.
Well, at least he's okay.
Yeah, I guess.
But still...
Look, there's the Earth and Historia.
That researcher dropped it.
Well, looks like we got a souvenir out of it.
Is this really okay?
Of course it's all right.
Saray, if there's one thing I've learned from my years as a merchant, it's that perennial law: finders, keepers, losers, weepers. Zex! More numerically progressive details about Heldalf's life as a human. Oh, but no more. Now he's going to realize that his humanity is lost, and Heldalf will be created. I wonder if the game makes it such that you find Heldalf's history in linear order, or if that was just by pure happenstance that was the order in which we found them. Jesus. There he is. Lion Man, King of Monsters. Not in the same way that Ratatosk was King of Monsters.
And that was the moment that Heldalf, the Lord of Calamity, was born.
He was a human being once, just like us. Unbelievable as it is.
Yes, he may have been a cold military leader, but he had genuine love for his family.
How could someone like him turn into the Lord of Calamity?
Well, he did lose his family.
I don't know. It felt like more than anything that happened to him, the transformation was born of his own resolve.
Could be.
It's probably not anything we can ever truly understand. But I can tell this much. Heldalf finally gave up. He couldn't fight back any longer.
I mean, I also wouldn't say, at least it doesn't strike me the way Zavid was saying, that he became the Lord of Calamity of his own resolve. Quite to the contrary, it seemed like he just kept being beaten down by the most, like, rotten and evil fortune in the world, with his whole family getting slaughtered and then his not even being able to die. Like, I wonder whether we need to uncover Iris gems or just go further in the main story to learn what that curse was all about. Because it does seem like he was kind of created by fate in a way that was not quite the same thing as what happened with Saray becoming the shepherd, since Saray, at least on the face of it, had much more choice in pulling the sword from the stone and making the pact with Lila, as opposed to poor Heldalf being pushed further and further inside his own darkness and despair. I wonder if they'll tell us once we found all the Iris gems. Although I imagine if some of them are optional, there's a trophy associated with it, so I imagine the PlayStation would tell us if nothing else. Oh, although we do have a skit that's called The Earth and Historia Completed, so maybe they will tell us.
Think this is all of the Earth and Historia?
But we're still missing something crucial. How did Heldalf end up there?
That's what I was saying.
We know all too well what hardship he's been through.
Whoa there, Sheps. Don't tell me you're sympathizing with him.
Is it sympathy? I can't even tell.
Sheesh, Lila, this is cruel. I liked it better when he was a faceless bad guy. You can chop those to bits guilt-free.
I'm sorry.
But really, though, it's tough. How are we supposed to figure out the right thing to do?
Well, is Lila even telling Saray to find the right answer? Or...
Oh! Zavid!
Dang, sorry.
So now what? Just standing around talking like this isn't gonna solve anything.
Let's go back to see Maven.
Right. He's probably organized his thoughts by now anyway.
So then I guess that is the end of searching for the Earth and Historia. Even though it still says, weirdly enough, search for remaining Iris gems. Seems to be a little ludonarrative dissonance going on here.
I think I'm vaguely starting to get it. There's some connection between Heldalf and the shepherd who came before me.
I see. So Lila avoided speaking about it directly by asking Maven the storyteller to help her out. Ouch! Damn it, that's not what you use an umbrella for!
You have no idea how the mind of a lady works. Ouch! That hurts! Dang, what an ice queen. Ouch! Dang! Stop playing around!
Thanks, Zavid. We needed someone to break the tension.
Oh-ho. I think our Rose might be in love.
Don't get your hopes up.
Aww.
Let's hurry
Got
to
all
Logan.
kinds of
I'm sure the
skits
old
to
man
clear
will be
through.
waiting for us there.
Quite rare that we're ever in the same place that Maven is.
For sure. I mean, he's an explorer and all.
Is there any real reason why, though?
You really need to ask?
Guess there's no point in worrying about it.
Yep, like they say, fear is often greater than something something.
Greater than danger, you mean?
All right, friends. Well, I think that is a good point at which to wrap up this lovely evening. I'm not totally decided on whether it makes better sense next to go back to Maven and hear what he has to say, or explore the world a little bit more and see if we can find more iris gems, because I definitely have a feeling, even if we've maybe seen all of Heldalf's story in the green iris gems, I think there are more out there, and there are definitely some errant hellions and far-flung ruins that I know we haven't fully probed yet, like the other dungeon-looking icon even on the Sweatland map that we were most recently on. So, I will mull that. We can decide together, play it by ear, and see what we're feeling when we kick off the weekend with Tales of Praxis next. We'll be back at the same time, Friday evening, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm really enjoying the way that this story and the world and just the fictional manifold is opening up as we continue to go further through this game and kind of learn everything that we need to in order to not just reach the final confrontation, but more to the point, understand it. Something that in pretty much any JRPG is a prerequisite to really being able to face the final battle and see it through and remake the world in whatever way the story wants its characters and you, the player, to enact. So, looking forward to what comes next, looking forward to seeing it with all of you. Thank you so much, as always, for tuning in. I'm Aaron Suduko, the founder of With a Terrible Fate. This has been another installment of Tales of Praxis. Look for some more fresh content on withaterriblefate.com real soon. And as always, don't be a stranger. Hit us up anytime on social media, email, Twitter, anywhere you like to hang out if you want to keep the conversation about video game storytelling going. Until Friday, game on, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.